Video from sleepingdog.video. This is John, and today I wanted to go over a couple of points on the Rogue Wireless Pro. I don't know how long and involved I'm going to be on this. There are other videos which are pretty good that show the whole thing. I'm just going to show you first why this kit I think is a good bargain, even at $400 US. It comes with, there are supposed to be 2 cables. I don't know where or 3 cables, I guess. But anyway, this came with if you still have a lightning connector iPhone. So you get that cable with it. You get this cable. There's supposed to be a high speed and a low speed, but I have plenty of cables. So even if I misplaced it or it didn't come with it. But this is, forgive my audio. It's going to sound a little more roomy. I'm going to maybe clear it up by doing EQ in LumaFusion. Make it sound a little bit better. But this is coming from my iPhone 16 Pro Max internal microphones for this video. So this is the USB to USB connecting cable. These are all the things that come with if you get the package. And it's $400, $399 US. And I'm going to put a link in the description or the comments. I'm going to put a link to Amazon, which I would appreciate if you want to buy this mic to use my affiliate link. I've just started using affiliate links like a couple weeks ago, so I'm still learning how to use it. And hopefully I'll make enough that I'll be able to keep going. Amazon says you have to do so many at first, at least. So many people go to their site in order to keep going on it. So anyway, I wanted to say, so the next thing that comes is, these are all the, let me show you. So you get 2 lapel mics. And each one of these lapel mics is $99. Let me move this around here. $99 a piece US. All this is in US money. So in US, so it has 2 of those. You get the these magnetic clips that will go on the back of these connectors. So it's actually supposed to go on this connector. So, but I use it, as you can see, I use it to hook my lapel mic to it because the magnet's really strong and it's so much easier than finding out how to hook it to the clip and then have the wires not fall off and then hook the clip somewhere to your shirt. You can just hook this under your shirt anywhere, and a t-shirt, anything, and it'll hold it on. So that's very good. Then you also get, as you can see in here, you get 2 extra of these rings. The rings, as I will show you, are what screw down and hold it on the mic. So you push it in here, and then, if I can do that, and then you screw it, you start and screw it down, and then it will hold on if you do it. It will hold on. Let me try it again for you. There, I got it. So you see how like that? And then when you pull on it, it won't come loose. You do have to make sure that you screw with your finger on the ring and a little bit on this part. because you don't want the ring. You can tighten it down a little bit, but you don't want the ring to come loose off of it. So that's one thing. So you get that, and then you get one of the wind muffs for the lapel mics. You get 2 of these, and you get, if that's not enough, accessories. You get these. These are the alligator clips. If you want to use them, I prefer not to use them, but you get them. And let me put this in here. Then the next thing you get is, I have to see where I set all these things, but you get basically 4 of these, 2 that go over the lapel mic, and then 2 of these go over the, if you want to use the internal, let me show you the internal mic. That's the internal mic. So if this one, I have to see if this one, which one this one is. This is for the internal mic. Or maybe this is for the lapel mic. So here, then you put this on here. Yeah, so that's for the lapel mic. That's also known as a dead cat. And it's a windshield or dead cat. I think the other little one here, this other little one is the windshield. This is really a dead cat. But you can interchange the terms. And that will, if you're out during any wind, I would recommend using the dead cat. And then, let me see if I have the other 2. Oh, there we go. Black on black, you can hardly see that they're down here. Now, these are the 2 that are supposed to go. I haven't tried them yet. So you and I will be the first to do that on this part. This mic, if you watch my other video that I describe how to hook this unit up to my iPhone, you will be able to listen to the sound of the internal mic. And that, so you'll get the internal mic and the lapel mic. So you'll be able to hear that. I don't know that I know how to. I might have to off camera. There's supposed to be little white markers on here. And then if I can pull this closer, this is on my new gimbal that I got maybe 2 months ago. And I used during Monterey Car Week. So right now, I'm not having good luck. There you go. I finally got it. So you push, you get it, you twist it around until it feels like it pushes down, and then you twist and you lock it into position. And then this will hold quite well on here, and this you can use outside. Rogue, which I might get for another $30, they make a plastic, basically, stick with windshield that looks like a professional microphone. So you just place it over the Rogue mic stand, and there's some third-party stands, but for $30 I might just get the Rogue mic stand, and then you place this in the little groove of the mic stand, and then you have a mic holder if you want to use it that way, and then up to your mouth, and then you have a different windshield that goes over it to make it look like it's an actual mic. And then, so that's great. So then you have this. Then you have, this is the input. So any mic can go in here. And you can plug, I can plug my stereo video mics. Well, that's the shotgun one. This is my stereo video mic Pro. And this is the Shotgun Video Mic Pro. And let me go back over here. And then, so it comes with all that. It comes with, let's see if there's anything else I'm missing. I think that's about it, but that's a lot of stuff for each mic. And then just consider if you buy all these separately. This is the case, and this is a charging case, so it has a battery in it. And then it'll charge the like 2 or 3 times. I forget what the specs are, but you can look that up. But this, well, this is for, one is, and you got to put them in the correct order. So one is for the RX stands for receiver, and then you have TX1 and TX2. TX1 and TX2 can be in either slot, but RX needs to be in the RX slot. Then you can use the USB-C cable, and this is just one I have. So that can plug into here, and then this can go into a computer, and then you can download from all devices at once. It should hook like a hard drive, and then you can download all your audio off of it. Now, besides describing what you get in here, I have a few things that other people don't quite cover or don't quite cover very well that I found was a little tough on the learning curve. So I finally kind of figured it out, and if anybody has further thoughts, can put them in the comments to help others. Also, I try to go on Reddit and ask on Reddit. I think Reddit's pretty good. Like any social media, I'll just stop at this point. Any social media can be good or bad, and then I'll just stop at that point. But I think Reddit's pretty good if you get to the right subjects and you just stick to the topic. And those are the best ones that I like to do anyway. And then help people. I try to help people as well as ask questions. So you get all that for the $400. So each of these lapel mics are, as I said, $100 a piece. That's not including the, I don't know if that's including the wind muffs or the dead cats or not. So if not, then that would be extra. It comes with the cable to connect to your phone or camera. So that's extra. That would be extra if you thought about trying to do all this separately. So that's already $200. So consider that the unit itself with the 2 transmitters and 1 receiver is then only $200 and not $400. So that's really good. And it has this thing called 32-bit float, which is, there's 32 gigabyte, which is not be confused with what is called float, 32-bit. That's the audio quality. Gigabyte is how much storage is in here. So there's something like 40 or 50 hours supposedly of storage on here of audio, of high quality 32-bit float audio. So you can record hours and hours of audio and then plug this into your computer and then export the audio. Now, 24-bit versus 32-bit. 32-bit may give you more leeway on upping the volume and getting a little bit crisper audio. I don't know because I haven't used this enough to say that it really is a lot better or about the same. I think 24-bit sounds quite well. But I will say that that it has that recording. So that's basically a backup recording. So if something happens to the main recording, it's clipping, which means you're yelling and it sounds all staticky and harsh. That is called clipping. And when you have clipping audio, you don't want that because it sounds just terrible. So then you can go back to the 32-bit float. But what this has over other units in its price range of $400, $300, and $200 is it also has the ability to do the backup channel. Now the backup channel, I think, is a different thing than the 32-bit float backup channels. So they call it a backup channel, but I think what it is, from reading the reviews, I haven't tried it, not the reviews, the manual, the backup channel is it takes one of the two channels and it makes a lower volume backup recording. So then if they're shouting, it won't be too loud. Or if airplanes, like in Fleet Week, we just had Fleet Week San Francisco for the Bay Area. So then if the airplanes go over and it's too loud, it won't clip the audio if you have your backup channel in case they clip the main channel. Now, there are a couple things I wanted to now touch on. So instead of going through, read the manual. So make sure you read everything about the manual before actually watching a lot of videos. Watch the videos to know if you want to buy it, the unit. But once you get the unit, read the manual first, then come back and ask questions on Reddit or watch videos on YouTube. That's my best advice that I can give anyone starting out. So, but when you read the manual, make sure that you have these powered up and ready to test. Because read the manual, try out the functions. Read the manual, try out the functions. Read it a third or fourth time. Try out the functions if needed. Until you get down that the functions perform as the manual says they are. Now, if it still doesn't, then ask on the internet or watch this video. I tried to add things that I found weren't on other videos and incorporate it into my video that I was wondering about, and I figure others must be wondering about the same thing. And so I try to add that to my videos, opposed to always, maybe now and again I'll do a unboxing and full review, but a lot of times I like to add tips and tricks that I found that others didn't really touch on, that I had to do a lot of research to figure out. So that's one thing to be said. The second thing is when I plug it in, this is my whole setup, but I'm not going to go through it because I made a separate video on it. This is my whole setup to go to my iPhone. You'll have to watch other videos about going into a regular camera. So my iPhone 16 Pro Max, I use that setup. And in order to use that setup, what I wanted to say here is that you can only import one channel. So if you want two separate channels to import, like you have an interviewer, myself, and somebody else, interviewee, and you want two separate channels, so if something's wrong with one channel, you can maybe get the 32-bit float off the backup, but the main thing to understand is it won't wreck the number one channel. It only wreck the number two channel. That's recommended when you're doing it that way. You can merge them together, and that's called the combine mode or merge mode by M. And to merge these together, then both channels will go into one. But then you can't separate them in post. So if one channel person speaking is overwhelming the other, it's going to be really hard to separate the two and get it right in post. So I mostly recommend, unless you're only using one mic, to do 2 separate channels when you're using 2 mics. But the problem is that in my setup that I talk about in my other videos, so watch that video on why I do it that way. Instead of doing it like in the manual says for an iPhone or a cell phone to use the USB to USB adapter, I will explain why I don't think that you should use that when you're going into at least an iPhone. You can agree or disagree with me after watching my other video. So watch my other video before commenting on that, and then agree or disagree if you find I'm right or wrong. Light discussions are okay with me. If you get something to work better than what I'm saying here, please, by all means, I would like to know how you get then better audio and certain things, and that helps the community. So I'm all for that. If we all do it in a nice and kind way. That's all I have to say about that again. So what I want to say is you can only do one channel, right? So if you wanted 2 channels, what you'd have to do is go back to the 32-bit float recording, get it off your computer, and then import it. I use LumaFusion for the iPad for my editing. So I would have to get it off my computer and then import it into my iPad, then edit it on my computer, and I'm going to have to link up the audio. Now, I haven't tried doing the flags or the time code flags, so I don't know really how that works very well. I know how to turn them on and off, but I don't know how to sync it then to post in my footage. So I'm going to have to learn that, so you're going to have to go to another video and try to learn how to do that in post if you want to try it. I'm good with watching, when you look at the timeline, it shows the little waveform. So I can see the highs and the lows. So I just take my audio in the second audio track or the first audio track, and then the video is at the top, and that can be the video and audio. But if you break out the audio, the first audio track, you can see the audio, and I link it up with what's shown in the video portion. So I'm pointing my finger like I'm looking at my timeline. And if I look at that, I can pretty well sync up the audio. I can listen to it, and I can say that this is a real high peak. So I'm going to place the high peak to high peak, and that usually syncs it up for the most part. I don't know if that would work for long, big cinema movies. You may have to do it another way. You can clap your hands. There's all kinds of ways that if you clap your hands like this in the audio, you'll have a visual and you'll have a audio on the audio of where the clap is, and then just place the clapping right next to, right in the video, and that's another way to do it. And that's how the pros do it. But the flag is supposed to automatically sync up in some software. So that's one thing to understand if you do it my way with the analog volume controls on your iPhone. So that's one thing to think about. Then all the audio will work on here. So all the audios, you'll be able to up and down the audios, which I like. Let's see. Let's get this, the receiver unit. the receiver unit. There's only a couple more things I want to touch on. The receiver unit, okay, there's those two buttons. I'm going to turn it around so I can see what I'm doing. But there's a left and a right. So when I press the left once, it's in a undimmed display. If I do it a second time, let's see if I can do it for you guys. That's one, and it's saying one transmitter is not connected at the moment. But it should go number 2. I'm going to turn it on. It's number 1. Okay, this is my number 2, and I make these for easier viewing. I put the label out of the way so it doesn't show up if you hook it to someone. But then so these, what I wanted to say that's a little confusing, that maybe this video will really help someone, is that on this device, yes, people are correct, that you can't up and down the volume gain from this transmitter. That is correct. But so you have to go through a computer or the iPhone, and use the Road Central app and then adjust the gain. So I thought that's the only way to do it. Not so. Now, this unit can do gain for the receiver. This is the receiver unit. This, why I'm going slow, is I want to reiterate. This has, I believe, it does separate gain for the receiver unit. This is where it gets a little tricky and confusing, is how to change the volume on each one. And not to get the two when you're changing the volume on the transmitter when you want to change the volume on the receiver, or vice versa, which I've done today trying to learn this. So on the receiver, there's a separate volume control from +0 to -30. And then there is separate volume on here. I think it might be even +0 to -30 also, or thereabouts. But you can read and see if I'm right in the manual. That's not as important. What is important is that when I press, let's see, if I press this right button, it's going to pull on the display. Now from here, if I press the left button, you see, now I can press left and right buttons if they don't go back to the main screen. So if you do it before the main screen like that, if that showed up, you can, that's how you adjust the volume on the receiver. Again, for the volume on the receiver, press, and this is hard for me to do, but press the main button, press it a second time. No, not a second time. See, I did it wrong again. Okay, so what you do is you get back to the main screen. You press the left button. Then you have to quickly press these two buttons back and forth to adjust the volume. If you don't do it fast enough, then you got to press the left button again. Then press up and down to go minus and plus. If you don't do it fast enough, the right button is going to change input types. So now you're at transmitter 1. So now you're at the main, okay, now you're at transmitter 1. Now you're at the main receiver input. Now I have to do this because it goes back fast. So I have to press this to get to transmitter 1, transmitter 2. So let me turn on the transmitter. Okay, now let me show you again. So this is like that. So let's cycle around. Transmitter 2. Now you see here, let me see if I'm doing it right. Oh yeah, so here it's in, the gain is dynamic or auto. Let me see, right, auto. And then I hope you can see this. And then what it is doing is, when you cycle around with the right button, and I'm trying to do this without making it too complicated, but even my explanation is kind of complicated. So you're just going to have to practice. So you press this button once, you press this button again to get around to the one that's activated. You press this button to go the gain levels. Now that only cycles between auto gain and dynamic gain. To get to manual mode levels, you have to hold it down. And now you should be in manual mode settings. Now this is manual mode settings it's much easier when I have it turned around. But that gets you the idea of manual mode settings for that particular transmitter. So again, it's a little confusing. You may have to rewind and play again and rewind and then try it and rewind. But just remember, I'll try to go over it one more time. I know it's becoming a little bit longer video, but this is very important. That was a hard thing for me to understand and to learn. So this one, so if I want to go to transmitter manual settings, I have to go around like this, press this button, which is the left one. Now I'm in manual mode. Now if I want to go back, I have to hold down left button. If I press and release left button, it'll change settings. If I press and hold, it will go between gain assist, which is auto, and dynamic. They call those two gain assist modes. And it'll go between that and manual adjustment modes. Now, that's the way to adjust it on the receiver and not have to go back to your computer to adjust the volume in the Rode Central app. They make you think that you have to go to the Rode Central app is the only way to adjust the gain on the transmitter. As you can see, that is not true. It's only true regarding on the transmitter itself. That's true. But you don't have to go to the Rode Central app to adjust the gain on the units. You can go to the receiver and adjust each one of the gain levels. And that does work. And that's the main things that I wanted to say about this unit for right now. Those are the main hard points that I found. A couple of other points. You just want to practice. You want to read the manual. You want to practice. You want to watch then my video after you've read the manual and practice. Watch other people's videos. And I would try using this lapel mic in this settings with this magnetic clip. See how you like it best, because I really like this magnetic clip. So I'm happy with having it this way. I wonder if it'll eventually wear out the bottom connector of the lapel mic. But until they make one, I suggested on Reddit, hopefully the guy that's representing Rode will read my suggestion and make this clip that fits better the lapel mic so it doesn't damage the cable. But for now, I'm going to use it like this. If you're careful pushing it in, you see how, let's see if it goes. I don't know if you can tell, but from the side, you can see how I have it pushed up on the neck of the lapel mic, and it holds in really well. See, I'm shaking it, I'm holding it, and it's pretty darn secure. So that's my suggestion as a little tidbit. Let's see what else. Oh, you can plug, as I said, any mic that you have into it. What I'm going to do is what I want to do is be able to, you can get pretty close by watching the meters, but I want to figure out how, with my Bluetooth earphones, how to monitor the audio. And this is my very old AirFly. And again, none of this am I getting paid for. I bought with my own money, but this is the old AirFly. I'm seeing if it still works and gets me connected to my Bluetooth earphones. Then maybe I can monitor the audio. You're supposed to be able to hook to the transmitter, to the receiver, I think, unit. You're supposed to be able to input receiver. Yeah. Well, somewhere you're supposed to be able to hook a receiver or a transmitter. One of these, you're supposed to be able to hook a wired microphone, wired earphones to wired earphones to allow you to monitor the audio. But if I have mine plugged into here, I don't know if I need a splitter cable. That's why I was pausing for a minute and thinking whether I would need a splitter cable or how I would connect that plus earphones to monitor the audio. So I'm still working on that part, but it would be nice to monitor the audio for audio levels. To the end of my video, that the one downside is that you can't get the 32-bit float files off the transmitters from an iPad. You have to use a Mac or a PC. Now I hope they fix that, because I would hate to have to carry my Mac, M1 Mac, around just to get the files off the transmitters, because I use everything else off my iPad. So to carry something hefty around that I don't really use for anything else, and I do everything on my iPad, that's kind of a bummer, but that's one of the few things. And that's about all I want to talk about at the moment. And just watch my other video. If you like any of the products, I will have them listed, the Amazon links, in the comments of my YouTube channel. And it's at Sleeping Dog Video 2, the number 2 is my YouTube channel. And this is John signing off for sleepingdog.video.